Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes, soloing the Stalker with Dark Phantom. It's been a little while. I've done a few missions, and we are now on the Envoy of Shadows story arc. Now we're +2 missions. We may not be able to beat the Envoy of Shadows on +2. I don't know if I've ever beaten him on +2 at this level with a Stalker, a Scrapper, a Brute, or anybody else. I haven't tried a Mastermind, but I'm pretty sure the Envoy of Shadows would just melt a Mastermind's pets. Even at probably +1. We may have to drop this down to +0 against him. However, the Envoy of Shadows, I think you have to fight him once, but the rest of the time it's optional. So I could just dodge him as a Stalker and not attack him. Obviously, the first time we encounter him, I'm going to try it. We'll use Overload and stuff. The thing is, Overload only lasts a couple minutes. I don't know if I can do enough damage to him. He has a really high regen rate. Don't know if I'm able to do enough damage to him to beat him. I haven't encountered him yet, but it's coming because that's the story arc we're on. Right? So we're going to have to find the Karis and all this stuff, but we're also going to have to deal with the Envoy at some point. And he is in random locations in several of these missions. He can completely blindside you if you're not under hide. And, because he looks like a normal behemoth overlord or whatever, and so if you don't realize it's him, and that happened to me a couple of times where I just walk up, oh, I think I'm fighting a behemoth overlord, and all of a sudden I realize, oh crap, it's the Envoy of Shadow, and I'm not ready for it. Yeah. So that may happen to me even as a Stalker, but it's much more likely to happen to characters that don't have hide. I'm pretty sure the Envoy of Shadows kicked the butt of Tiger Strike, who was my other Stalker that I got to 50 since City of Heroes came back, and that was on the Rebirth server with just SOs. We're basically in the same spot as she was. We have some IOs, but they're generic. We don't have any sets at all. So we have nothing extra to help us except our actual raw powers. I saw a question, so this was on somebody else's City of Heroes Let's Play, or, well, it wasn't a Let's Play, it was just sort of doing a tutorial or whatever. And somebody asked, and so this wasn't one of the people in my audience, so I doubt this person's watching my video, but other people, the rule when you're teaching is if one student has a question, multiple other students in the room probably have the same question or a similar one. If one student doesn't understand, just checking if that's the Envoy, but it's not. If one student doesn't understand, multiple students probably don't understand. And so maybe I can answer this question and it'll be helpful to other people. I also do things a certain way, and I don't want people to feel like they have to do them the same way I do them. Okay, so what am I doing here? We're checking this out. So here's an issue. We just have to think about this, right? We have to be thoughtful about our approach. If we figure the approach out correctly, then we don't have to be as thoughtful. This guy's a lieutenant. And your normal instinct as a Stalker, because you can pretty much one-shot these guys, would be to build up one-shot, right? And then you just have minions to deal with. But we do have another group over here that could aggro. And the reality of these Behemoth Overlords is they're huge and scary looking, but they actually don't do that much. The problem is these guys, right? Because these guys can put out quicksand that massively debuffs our defense. It turns these red, and the rest of these get close to 0, which means essentially it's like they turned our toggles off. Now, they don't actually turn them off, but they might as well have, given how much easier it's then going to be for everybody to hit us. So I actually think the right move here is going to be to fight the Earththorn casters. And because there are 2 in this group and only 1 in this group, I'm going to start with this group. I think I can take this guy down, back down the hallway, make the Behemoth follow me. It won't aggro these guys as long as they don't wander over. Where's the other one? Okay, just want to make sure. As long as this guy doesn't wander over here so he sees me, I might be okay. I don't want 3 of these guys to all lay quicksand down me at once, and then I'm going to be so debuffed that they're just going to be hitting me constantly. Now, I don't think we need build up on these guys, and we do not. And now I'm going to back down the hallway, just pull him with me. He does have range, so we probably got to break line of sight. Here we go. Alright, so now what we can do is just build up and then punch him. And he shouldn't be a problem. These guys are actually kind of paper tigers, as you see, right? They really can't do that much to you. We're looking for Akaris, so we don't actually have to fight these other guys, but I will, because one of the things we need to do, and this is what you have to be careful about bypassing. I'll get to the question in a minute, but this is what you have to be careful if you bypass too much. You don't learn as a Stalker how to do a fight like this, and then when you have to, you're not sure what to do. So there's lots of ways to do it. Maybe taking this guy out first would be worth it, right? Because then these guys might debuff me, but they can't really do that much to me. However, this is coming back. We're going to have Placate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy out. And then we have to come over here. You see how they're hitting me? And we've got to take this guy out. We're going to Placate. And then I'm actually going to assassinate this guy. Because again, the Behemoth Overlords are basically teddy bears. Like, they can't really do much to you if you're not being debuffed by somebody or something like that, right? So we're not really afraid of these guys, and they're pretty weak, actually, given that they're a Behemoth Overlord. The regular Behemoths are actually more dangerous, I think, than these guys. They're kind of powder puffs, so we're not afraid of that. So anyway, back to the question. The question that this person asked on another channel. Lots of debuffing going on. Again, we're going to start over here. The question he asked on this other channel was, at what level should I... He talked about how people play ×4 + 8. And that's pretty scary sounding. And what he asked was, at what point should I start raising difficulty? Right, obviously, he was new to the game. He's low level. I'm only like 12th level. I know I'm supposed to upgrade it yet. But at what point should we raise difficulty? And that's a really... Oh, I thought that was the Envoy. I thought, is that the Envoy? Now, we might be able to assassinate this guy without bringing these guys into it. But I think we have to take the Demon first. They're just completely impossible to deal with, and I won't be able to hit anybody else if he's up. So we'll do him, then we'll go to the Earth Thorn. So again, he asked, at what point? Like, I'm on +2, right? At what point should you go up to +1? At what point should you go up to +2? At what point should you finally have gotten to +4? When do you go to ×2, ×3, ×4? Like, when do I do this? You guys who've listened to me for a long time probably already know what I'm going to say. The answer is when you want to. There's no right answer, and I do it differently for every type of character I have, right? This character, I think we hit +1s at level 25 or 6, and we went to +2s at level 37 once I had enough slots, and I had the accuracy on here, because I did go to +2, I tried it, and that's what I would say. The other thing is try it, right? If you think you can go to +1, go to +1 and try it. If you hate it, go back to +0. It's not like, there's no shame in it. The game was meant to be played at +0. You never have to go higher than that. In fact, what I said in the comment was, my feeling is you move up to +1 or ×2 or 3, however you want to do it, when you feel like +0 ×1, the normal 3-white con spawns, are too easy. When you start feeling like you're breezing through the mission and there's no challenge at all and you never have any chance of face planting and this is just so easy you're going to fall asleep on it and maybe you're getting bored, that's when it's time to move it up. And then whether you move it up to ×2, ×3, ×4, or whether you move it up to +1, +2, +3, that's really up to you, right? So like I said, the one guy that I listen to a little bit, he likes to go up to ×2 and ×3 and fight big groups of enemies, large spawns. I like to keep the spawns small and to bump up the mission level. But this leads to more... I mean, one of the big differences between doing, say, +0 ×3 and +3 ×0, right, is that you're going to miss a lot more against the +3s, right? So if you really hate missing, the way I do, it could be argued, maybe I just want to go into doing ×2 and ×3 missions instead of +1 and +2. Now, I have reasons why, and I've talked about why I prefer to go up in level rather than in number of enemies, because I don't feel like fighting 12 easy enemies is more of a challenge than fighting 3. I'd rather fight 3 harder enemies. But that's my choice, And I didn't say I have to go up at level 23 or whatever. I said we're going to go up when I'm ready. Right? And we tried level +2, and I was like, you know what? The +2s are fine, but the +3s are taking me off because I keep missing them too much. So we're not going to do that. And I'm going to wait until I get better accuracy. And now that I have better accuracy and I can hit a little better, 60% of the time instead of 40, right? Now I'm willing to do it. And the other reason I went up at 37 is to show you guys what it's like now, and then we'll see what it's like when we get focused accuracy, right? So it's all about what you want to do and what you're comfortable with and what's fun for you. So really the answer is, when should you go up to +1? When it'll be fun. When +0 isn't any fun anymore and you feel like it's too easy, go up to +1 and do it that way. And if you're playing some sort of a controller that's really struggling and there's all this mez defense and you're having problems with it and you don't feel like you ever are going to have fun going up to +1, don't. Right? As I said in the comment I made, go up when you want and realize that never is a perfectly valid time to go up to +1. If you decide I just want to go from 1 to 50 with all +0s, do it. By the way, guys, when the game first launched, that's all anybody could do. That guy who got to level 40 on day 1, and then probably 50 as soon as level 50 came out, he did it with +0s because there was no such thing as +1 missions. He might have fought +1s and 2s in the hazard zones. Last time I was here, the envoy was over here, but I don't see him. I don't know where Akaris is. This room is kind of annoying, but with all these purples and reds, it might be fun to do. Not that guy, though. That guy's not going to be fun. We have to take him out first because they debuff, so we want to get rid of these guys. So we'll start with him, and then we'll fight these guys. So yeah, I would say go up in level when the current level is not interesting anymore. When you're bored, when you think it's too easy, right? I found +1s to be too easy 4 or 5 levels ago and tried to move it up to +2, and I just found the +2 to be too frustrating and went back to +1, right? I feel like the +2s against this character are pretty, like at the time, this is a 32, 33, I was like +2 is exactly the sweet spot, but you get all these +3s like this in +2 missions, and those guys were too much. Now I feel like +2s are a little too easy, and if it weren't for the misstreaks, I would already be on +3 missions, right? Because I feel like +3 is kind of the sweet spot for this character. If you look at how we're performing against these red cons, where I have to pay some attention to what's going on, but I can't completely just turn my brain off, but they're not a huge threat to me. I feel like this is a pretty good difficulty level for us. I'm pretty happy with the way this character plays against +3s. And if I could get the missions to be +3 and never show me any +4s, I would probably be on +3 missions right now. But because I don't want to deal with +4s, and I'm saying that's not what I want, then I'm staying on +2, and I've got half +2 and half +3 enemies. So I fight when it's +3s like this, it's a challenge. When it's +2s, it's a little bit of a breather. We can get our endurance back. We don't have to worry about having to heal because they can't really do much to us, and now we're under debuff, so yeah, this is going to be 25% to hit. So the thing is, okay, I've swung 5 times now. Shouldn't I have hit at least once with 25% to hit? Nope. Look at this. Alright, let me fight this other guy. Can I hit him? You see why I say the debuffers are so dangerous? Because I basically have to sit here and fight interminably because I cannot hit. And then they run away and they regen their hit points and they come back and you still can't hit them. Where are you? Get over here. I think I waited long enough that he turned his debuff off, right? 95 to hit. Eventually they will. They don't maintain it permanently. But yeah, they can make it incredibly frustrating. So yeah, my advice, when to go up to +2, +3, etc., and +1, whatever you want, is when you want to, right? Go when you're comfortable. Go when you're... oh boy, that's not the envoy, is it? No, it's a behemoth overlord. Okay, hang on. We over-aggroed here, so we'll fix this. Placate. I've got to get rid of this guy. Because the debuffing was killing me. Behemoth Overlord, you're not an issue right now. We want to take this Hellfrost Lord out because he's debuffing me. And now we can worry about the Overlord. The Overlords are really kind of, like I said, they're cream puffs. You don't really have to worry about them. They look scary, but they don't. And they'll heal, which is annoying, but you can just take their hit points back down. Let's grab some endurance before we get rid of him. And then we'll finish him off. And then the guide is nothing. But again, you know, whether you prefer +1, +2, +0, that's entirely up to you. Do what's fun. What? Chain aggro. These guys were all too close to each other and I aggroed 3 spawns. And they're all, everybody in this room is +3, so I'm struggling to hit them. As you can see, 4 misses out of 5 with 60% chance to hit. Miss. And that's what kills your endurance, is all the missing. Come on. Again? Again. You know, 3 misses in a row and a 65% to hit is really annoying. It's not outside the realm of possibility, but it is annoying, especially when it happens over and over again in the same room. Now, these guys are nothing if you get a chance to assassinate them. The problem is I chain aggroed, and so I couldn't really do that. Okay, well, doesn't seem like a Karis is in here, so we'll move on to another room. Yeah, there's some of this, I don't know what you want to say it, like, competitive? Is it competition? Is it ego? I'm not really sure. Where you have somebody sees somebody doing +4 × 8 and is like, now I have to do that too. That's how you're supposed to play COH. No, it's not. There's no supposed to. Right? But if you were supposed to be playing +4 × 8, you wouldn't have to set it on that. It would just do that, right? You're setting it on the difficulty that you want. I've never done +4 × 8. I have no interest. In order to do that, you have to really tune your character with sets, and I don't care to do that. So, what happens is with SOs, right now, +3 × 0 is about the same difficulty as you would have with all these sets on +4 × 6 or something. So I'm just staying on +3 × 0 and enjoying the same difficulty I'd have on +4 × 8 if I had the sets. And it's cheaper, and I don't have to deal with the sets. Again, whatever's comfortable for you. Whatever you like. I like fighting orange, red, and purple cons, right? With just 3 or 4 at a time. I enjoy that. Small spawns that are tough, rather than large spawns of weak guys. But that's my personal preference. You don't have to like that. And if you don't, you know, set it on whatever difficulty you want. That the difficulty you like is the difficulty that's right for you. Period. You don't need to do what other people are doing. That the fact that you're not doing it does not make you a bad player. It doesn't make you some kind of a noob. right? It's perfectly fine to play +0 or even at -1, although they were saying -1 was bugged. I don't know if it still is, so just be careful about that. But assuming -1 is not bugged, heck, you can go from 1 to 50 at -1. Doesn't matter. Do what you want. The game is set up to allow you to do any of that. So it's all here for you, as I keep saying. Play the way you want. So the right answer is do it when you want. And I feel like what I do is I start to bump the difficulty when I'm getting bored, right? When the game is not challenging me anymore. That fight against those red and purple cons, where I had to use some inspirations, like this tray shouldn't just never be used. It's meant to be used. It should be used. I should have to sometimes use it. If I can go through missions without ever touching that tray, this is what happened with my first scrapper when I quit City of Heroes. It was level 43. They hadn't introduced the difficulty slider yet. And I was just bored. I was running missions in 10 minutes through big maps and just diving into spawns and owning everything, and nothing could do anything to me. The bosses couldn't hurt me. The minions couldn't. +0 boss orange is nothing. The lieutenants were nothing. Like, it was just super easy, right? So I got bored and I quit the game because it just was too easy. Now I realized, like, I did make some lower level characters. Like, I tried an Ice Blaster, got him to level 19, didn't like him. I was playing a tanker. She was just as easy, if not easier, because there was no threat to her, but was too slow and I was bored, right? Even more bored. And so I just got bored and I'm like, I quit the game, right? And then one of the reasons I came back was City of Villains. But the other reason I came back was I found out that they had these difficulty sliders. And so I came in, and the first thing I did was I pumped it up to the first increased difficulty, which brought it up to, I don't remember, was it multiple mobs? I think it was multiple mobs at +0. And it still didn't challenge me, right? So then I bumped it up to +1 with just regular mobs, or basically times one player. Because the settings were, I think difficulty setting 1 was equivalent of 3 or 4 players, so you got a larger spawn. So instead of fighting 3 white cons, you're fighting like 12 or 15. I did that with my tanker, and I was like, this is fun. Now this is fun because I'm tanking, right, against all these guys. But they weren't high level, so it didn't take me forever to chew down their hit points. Right, as a scrapper, I was like, a bunch of white cons is no harder than one white con. Like, they can't do anything to me. In those days, they hadn't done the global defense nerf yet, I don't think. I was like, no, they can't do anything to me. I'm just crushing them. So I went to +1. That wasn't hard enough. I went to the +1 with more minions setting. That didn't work. I went to the highest setting, which was this. It was +2 times 0, this setting, and I was like, okay, now it's interesting again. And I was able to play again, and I had fun, right? So I set it on what was fun for me, right? And that was my choice, right? But again, like with the tanker, I was doing something different, right? I was at +0, but I was in larger, basically went at +0 times 4, which was more fun for me than +1 times 0 or +2 times 0 or whatever. So I had one setting as my tanker and another setting as my my scrapper, right? That's because they both play differently, and each one, I felt like each one was equally fun and roughly equally challenging at those different difficulty settings, right? So, yeah, what you want to do is find your sweet spot in COH. That's the level of difficulty that's fun for you to do. It's challenging. It should be challenging, right? I mean, it's up to you. If you just want to sleepwalk through it, that's fine. And I also, if you remember, I pointed out at one point, I might be on +3 now. But I wouldn't do it as a Let's Play because it's too distracting to do all the talking and about stuff, and I'm going to mess up. And, yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal to faceplant. There's no real punishment in City of Heroes if you do, other than XP slowing down. Who cares? There's tons of XP to be had anyway, right? It's not like there's a shortage of XP. You're never going to run out. So it doesn't really matter. There's not a real death penalty in COH, so who cares other than the time sink of coming back from the hospital or breaking out of the prison or something. But but I don't think it's going to be fun for you guys to see me constantly face planting. I don't like to constantly face plant. And I found, so what I try to do is, this is the difficulty level that is fun for me to do, and is also the right difficulty level for me to do a Let's Play, right? And it might be different. It would be different with a different archetype, and it might be different with this character, or as the same archetype on a different character if I'm not doing a Let's Play. It would be different if I was playing with another player. Like, I never set the missions to +1 with the new girl that I was playing with because she was struggling badly enough against white cons, and that we had several wipes, both of us wiped several times because she was new and she wasn't able. She was pretty good at managing her aggro, but not great, and she struggled with how to get from place to place, and sometimes we'd start a fight and then she'd get kind of caught up in the terrain and wouldn't really be able to help me because she's in the corner and she just couldn't figure out how to get out of it like this, and I'm over here fighting as two-person spawn by myself with a level 10 scrapper, and so that I would never have set those missions up, at least not for a long time, right? And we got into the, I think, mid-20s. I never put them up to +1. Never occurred to me. Never put them on ×3 or ×4. Never occurred to me because we were having enough trouble. She was having enough trouble handling the +0s. I wasn't going to suggest going up, right? Oh, this guy. These guys are really tough because they're both debuffing you in different ways. And if I can't get rid of the demon, I won't be able to hit the other guy who's debuffing my 2-hit. Or debuffing my defense, rather. So you've got one guy debuffing your 2-hit, one guy debuffing your defense. They're both brutal because the guy who debuffs your 2-hit makes it so you can't take out the guy who's debuffing your defense, right? It's hard when you have two of them in the same spawn. And so the one person who said they hate Circle of Thorns, that's why, right? Because these guys do a lot of debuffing. Players don't like to be debuffed. Right? They like their powers to kind of work the way they work. They don't like it when somebody comes along and negates their powers or debuffs them. There we go. So yeah, Scrapper's advice is do what you want. Right? Play at the level that you think is enjoyable and fun. Don't worry about whether other people, you don't have to watch me go, well, Scrapper's Stalker at level 37 is fighting +3s, I should be able to. Who cares what I'm doing? And B, I don't always do the same thing on even the same archetype, let alone different archetypes. Different characters play differently. I might slot them differently. I might decide I don't want to slot this guy for all this accuracy and deal with the misstreaks. I'm just going to stay on +1s on a different character. Right? So, on the one hand, doing a Let's Play makes me be like, I'll be a little more cautious so I don't constantly faceplant, and so that I can be distracted and talk to the audience about things that aren't the mission itself, and still get things completed and still be successful at it and so on and so forth. On the other hand, there's also a sense that I certainly wouldn't keep this on +0, +1 because I think it'd be boring to watch. If I'm never under any sort of threat, why are you watching? Like, I would think sometimes people are watching to see, is he going to faceplant today? Is he going to screw up? That's not going to happen most of the time against whites, right? Also, if you want to see how I handle a challenging situation, what my logic is for dealing with these two Earth Thorns plus a Behemoth, right? Like, so, okay, so we've got this spawn. They're oranges, so they're not as dangerous. But if these were reds and a purple, right, I'm going to talk about, okay, here's how I'm going to do this. Here's why I'm going to hit this guy first, this guy second, this guy third. And maybe, hopefully, that's a little bit of help for people who are new to the game and can figure out how to reason this out for themselves, But it helps them, think about logically, why are you targeting this guy versus that guy, right? That there's a reason for that. And, right, so seeing the Behemoth Overlords, you might think these guys are super scary. They seem to be. They look like they're a Balrog and they're going to kick your butt, right? And the reality is that they're they're nothing if you don't keep missing them like I'm doing, right? But they can't really do anything to you. You see what he's doing? Like, my hit point bar is maxed. They're really not that strong. So basically, all you got to do is just chew their hit points down, and you can kind of stand there and fight them all day as long as it's not the Envoy of Shadows. Okay, he looks just like that. He'll kick your butt. But the regular to Behemoth Overlords are nothing. There's a Karist. And so, but you wouldn't know that to look at them, and maybe not the first couple times you fought them, right? So my hope is that people learn a little bit as we're going, and you're not going to learn much of just fighting white cons, right? Because it's too easy. I'm just going to go in and mindlessly attack them, and I'm not going to try to strategize, do tactics or anything, because you don't need to against white cons and a yellow lieutenant. Now I'm going to let him go. And I'm going to look around a little bit here. I just want to see. No. I thought maybe the Envoy might be in here and we could test ourselves against him now that the mission is complete. But he doesn't seem to be in here. So yeah, my feeling on difficulty is always set it the way you like. Make it the difficulty that's comfortable for you. Right? You don't have to... There's like... Nobody's watching you play. Right? Unless you're doing a Let's Play where you might be embarrassed. Nobody's watching you play. You don't have to impress anybody. Nobody's watching you play. You don't have anybody. You're not impressing anybody. By the way, times 8 plus 4, that's not impressing anybody either. Lots of people can do it. I'm not impressed. Right? Really. I might be impressed at the way you were able to do your build, but I really not. It's not hard to do. It's not some rocket science. It's not some secret. Right? It's actually fairly easy to do. All the, what do you want to call it? The theory crafting. That's all been done. You can look it up. You don't even have to think about it or work it out. Right? So given that that's the case, I'm not impressed by people doing times 8 plus 4. Whoops, wrong thing. And I'm also not, I also don't think it's pathetic or something or noobish if somebody's doing -1 times 0. I don't care. Like, do what works for you. Hang on. Let's look at I'm clicking the wrong things. Let's look at the recipes. We have Bombardment. This is ranged AoE we don't need. We have Gladiator's Javelin. This is range damage we don't really need. And then we have Healing. Preventive Medicine. Okay, we do like that. I think I have some Preventive Medicine over here, right? And we have a Heal Power. No, we don't have Preventive. We actually have Harmonized and Doctored Wounds. But that's actually... So Preventive Medicine might be worth... What level is this? It's 39. It's not bad for a set. I tend to like... I don't know where Preventive Medicine caps out. I think it goes to 50. What does it give us? It gives us resistance. I don't care about that. It's nice to have, but I'm trying to stack defense, not resistance. Increasing health is good. Resistance, I don't care. Endurance discount. That's not bad. And recharge time. So I don't really care about the first 4, but the improved recharge time and the endurance discount on all endurance costs is actually kind of nice. So I actually think I want this. So we need Fortune and Positronic Matrix. What do we have here? We have one. I really wish there was a salvage table for recipes because I'd like to pull it off. And is Fortune yellow or orange? I feel like I've seen Fortune before. Probably yellow. I'm not sure. I never know which ones are which. If it is yellow, I'm going to have to look through all 4 tables to find it. Oh, there's a white in here. It shouldn't be in there. Was it orange? Do we have it in here? If it's going to take 2 oranges to make this thing... I don't see that there. We don't have it. I'm not going to buy, I will not buy salvage to make this. So we don't, it's not yellow. If it's yellow, we don't have it. It could be white. I'm not paying for it. I don't want it enough. Yeah, it's white. Okay. All right. I could see making it. It only takes one orange. Let's go ahead and craft it. We're not going to use it. We're going to save it. But, like, we do have several of these. So I'm willing to use one to make some preventative medicine. It may be that we can get this set eventually. I think it's worth it. Now, what this thing does, we could slot it now if we wanted to. And what this thing does is it will increase the endurance cost and the recharge time of a power by 24%. So if I slotted it in here, right, it would reduce the amount of healing we get. But it would also give us basically give us, switch one of these essentially to a healing Dio in green, and then add a healing, like tack on an extra endurance Dio onto here. And as you get more and more of them, eventually it will be as good or better than these, plus have an endurance reduction. So it's worth it because this is a recharging and an endurance using power. So I can see doing that. It's probably not worth putting it on here because it will take the accuracy off, and it's not worth putting it on here because you don't need 6 slots, and there's no recharge or endurance on here. It'll let you put it on, right? You can see on any of these, but the only one to be worth is energize. So what we're going to do is, as we gather these, we will make them, and whichever one we are closer to getting a set on, that's the one I'll try to get. Right? So right now we have preventative medicine, we have harmonized healing. If we take a look at their bonuses, gets AoE defense, improves the healing of healing powers, recovery. This is weaker. I'm not as interested in that. And then doctored wounds, I remember that being pretty nice. That's recharge time, but not as much. Healing bonus, and then mostly resistance. So I feel like, to me, preventive medicine is the best of the three. I'd be willing to put Doctor Wounds on it. I probably don't want to put Harmonized Healing on it. I like this. It's fine. Like if I had them all, and I didn't have the rest of the other ones, I would go ahead and do it. But I feel like the preventive medicine is probably the best one. My guess is that's going to be the most expensive because it's clearly better than the others because of both the recharge time and the endurance reduction. At least to me, it's clearly better. I suspect that it's going to be the most expensive one to buy the recipes for. But I don't know, and we're not going to worry about that now. It's not like we have 6 slots on there. We could start putting sets, but I don't feel like there's any need to do that right now. When we head out, we're going to see if we can auction off the orange ones that we have that I don't need, the ranged AoE and stuff. Don't need any of that. So we're going to see if we can auction them off. If they're worth, hundreds of thousands, we will. If not, just won't bother, and we'll just sell it next time. Yeah, that's not worth it. And I did that one. Wait a minute. So that's that one, Gladiator. Now I don't think any of either of these will be valuable, but we'll see. No. Okay. So you might ask, why did I craft that? Right? Why don't I just wait till I have all the recipes, and once I get them, craft them? It wouldn't waste the orange. Well, I want to get them out of the list, right? Because what I'm going to do is now vend any recipes I don't need that are orange, right? That aren't worth anything. And guys, I know myself and I know my history. I will accidentally sell to the vendor that preventative medicine recipe one of these days. If I'm going to wait a month or something to get all the versions of preventative medicine, the different ones that I need, while I'm waiting, I'm going to accidentally vend that thing. That's why I say I wish there was a way to store recipes, because I guess they don't want you to do that because then you won't sell them, right? You get way more salvage than recipes, so they can let you store salvage in a base, and they know it'll still get auctioned. But if you can save recipes, all the best recipes would just be locked in bases with, people would have, thousands of recipes held in their base, and they would never put them on the auction house, which would ruin the economy. I guess that's why. But I wish you could store at least a few, because I would like to save that and then only make it when I have all the recipes and it's worth it. Right? Otherwise, it could be a waste. Otherwise, it could be a waste of that orange salvage. All right, so we have Airthorn Casters, not the worst. We have the Behemoth Overlord, not that bad. This guy's the biggest problem, right? So we have to get rid of him first. I'm going to try to do extra damage just to take him out as fast as possible before he debuffs me. Nope, he's already debuffing me. See that? Man. Okay. And again, I'm going to leave the Behemoth Overlord because even though he's a lieutenant, they can't debuff you, right? The debuffs, this is something people did not understand when City of Heroes first came out, how powerful and debilitating those debuffs are. So people didn't like any defenders that didn't have a lot of AoE and single target heal. So empathy defenders, when the game first came out, were by far the most requested in groups because they did the healing. People thought of defenders as healers because in other MMOs, that's that archetype. They heal. Force field defenders didn't really have heals, and so people wouldn't take them in groups. They would be like, "We're not taking you. You're a force field defender." Or like the kinetics defenders, we aren't taking you. Right? You're doing the guys that do kinetics. Like, we're not taking you guys. You stink. Like, they were completely wrong. Buffs and debuffs are super important in City of Heroes, and they can, like, you put a force field, you get a force field defender on your team. They used to call them bubblers. They put a bubble around everybody, and then they put an AoE bubble around themselves. Nothing can hit you. You don't need heals because your hit point bar stays up there. But people didn't understand that when COH first came out. They wanted heals, right? And they didn't realize how important buffs are. And like, our group had a Dark Defender. The Dark Defenders are mostly debuffing other people. They had a heal where they would attack somebody and drain him and then heal all the guys adjacent to them, so you had to stay near them. But they could also do these nasty debuffs to the enemy that then they, like, when she would put a debuff, the character, my best friend's character, would put a debuff on the enemies, and then my SR Stalker would go in there and they couldn't touch me. Because that character was doing to them what the Nerva demons are doing to me. Like, literally, it's the same power. Look at this. Again, these stupid runners are so impossible to hit. So annoying. We have to be careful here, because the Envoy of Shadows might be around any corner. And if I get ambushed by him, he will probably kill me. Right? I might be able to take him if I'm ready for him, but if I'm not ready for him, I absolutely will not. I would argue, and he could be +3, right? I would be shocked if anybody playing a level 37 character, even one that's starting to put sets on, would survive the Envoy of Shadows by surprise at +3. If you could do that at this level with these sorts of enhancements, and you can survive the Envoy of Shadows when he surprises you and you don't realize he's there at +3 while you're fighting somebody else, and all of a sudden you're aggroed him, and you can survive that, I tip my hat. You're a better COH player than I am. Because it's hard enough to survive him when you know he's there, but when he ambushes you, I've never survived that. With a tanker, not with anybody. Now, the ambush is entirely my fault, usually, right? I wasn't looking carefully enough. But if you happen to go after him and not realize that go after somebody and not realize, while I'm fighting these guys, the Envoy of Shadows behind me and I aggro him, oh man. I don't know how you survive that. I guess some people do, but at +3. If he's +0, no, not necessarily a problem, but at +3, oh man. He's brutal. But he is one of the Envoy, Nosferatu, and is it the Madam of Mystery, the one that does the psionics? Those are probably the 3 toughest elite bosses in the game. I can't think of another one that's tougher than those three. Well, Recluse when you fight him, but I only did him as a mastermind, so I don't know how it would be if I was a brute or something. I feel like I could take him as a brute. Um, but yeah, I feel like the Envoy of Shadows is one of the 3 or 4 toughest enemies of the game. He does massive amounts of fire and I think negative damage, definitely fire damage. He does massive amounts of damage. He has really fast recharge rate and he can self-heal because he's sort of a behemoth overlord. And he seems to be wildly accurate, so he just completely negates. If you're defense, he's just completely negating all this. He's going to hit me every time. He's really tough. You've got to have these or something like this, and you better have heals and accuracies and everything else. You're going to need the full tray, I would think, of inspiration. So again, if he comes on you unawares and you have an empty tray, I would think you're going to die. I don't know how you beat a +3 Envoy of Shadows when he surprises you. I don't know if I've ever beaten him at +3, even if I knew he was there. I've beaten him +1, maybe +2, but I don't know if I've ever beaten him at +3, even if I knew that he was there. And certainly not if he came on me unawares. So if you can do that, again, I salute you. My hat is off to you. So I am hoping when we get to him, he's only +2, because I don't think I can beat him +3. I probably can't beat him +2. Now, Silver Phoenix now at level 50 might be able, if she's not mentored down, if she's fighting a level 50 version of him, a level 53 version of him, she might be able to do it because she's got all those incarnate powers and stuff. But I don't think that any of my other characters could do it because none of them have incarnate powers, and Silver Phoenix has everything, all these sets and all this. She's not min-maxed, but she's got, like her recharge is really fast, and she's got a couple of really good incarnate powers that, or at least I think they're pretty good. I like them, and I feel like she would have a shot at him +3 at level 50, right? If you sidekicked her down to level 37 and took her incarnate powers away, I don't know if she could do it. I don't think she could do it either. If anyone could do it, that's my only character that could do it. None of my other characters are powerful enough. Maybe the Brute, maybe Quintessence Lass. Quintessence Lass probably could do it if she's got all her sets and she's level 50. I don't think she could do it at 37. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think so. At +3. Now I think she beat him, but I don't think she beat him at +3. I don't remember. If anybody remembers, feel free to post here and remind me of which episode it is, and I can go back and look. I have a spreadsheet with all my episodes of what's going on in each episode, but sometimes I just say it's missions because I mostly index what I'm ranting about if I'm doing a rant, in case I want to go back and watch it again and see what I said in the past. Because I do that. Doesn't stop me from repeating myself, but I do that. But yeah, I should look and see. And there's our hostage. So we have, oh my gosh, we have 8 victims to save. I haven't found a single one yet. Okay, this is going to be a long mission. This will be our last mission of the day. Good. We might level in this. Okay, so I'll say this. If the Envoy is in this mission, and if I can find him, and I know where he is, and I can level up right before I attack him, like go find somebody to level up on and then go fight him while my level up buffs are going, fight him with the level up buffs, and as soon as they fade, hit overload, I might be able to beat him at +2. I still don't think I could get him at +3. I don't know if I've ever beaten him at +3. I don't know if I've ever tried. I think I have. I'm usually on +2 by the late 30s. But I don't like Tiger Shrike. I don't think Tiger Shrike was on +2 yet. I think I put her on +2 at 38. I might have waited till Focus Accuracy for her. She was just SOs, and Rebirth has slightly different rules, so different for the power sets. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and really watch everything. I don't think she was on. I know because I checked at 36. She was not on +2 at 36 yet. I think I waited till 38, but it might have been 37. So we're not. We're at least keeping up with Tiger Strike. So I don't know if Tiger Strike, but I don't know. So she might not have had to face him at +3. She might have been on a +2 mission and faced him a +1 mission and faced him +2, maybe. Okay, am I gonna have to reveal this map? No. Okay, here's another hallway. Nope, another dead end. So what am I missing? Okay, reveal. Wow, alright. There was a hallway right there that I didn't see. So let's head back. I totally missed that. Again, thanks for whoever talked about the reveal option. That's fantastic. I also need to actually explore this room because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize we're looking for. Oh, I'll leave that up. I'll leave that up, and I didn't. I didn't realize we were looking for hostages, and I wasn't looking. So we gotta check these rooms and make sure that we found everybody that there is to find. Well, no hostage here, but and there's still somebody. So go ahead. You know, I didn't even con this guy. This could have been the envoy. I might have died if it was. So we're going to want to make sure that we're definitely in hide before we go moving around. Because we want to make sure that we don't actually blunder into the envoy of shadows. And I need to tab target all over the place to make sure I'm not missing any. Did I see something over there? No. Make sure I'm not missing any minions, any guys in corners, because that's pretty much my habit. Is there's some guy around the back corner here, like, see, right there, and I totally missed him. Oh yeah, talking of difficulty, so as I mentioned, I've been playing these computer versions of the old Hex and Counter, and I want to write this Hex and Counter, right? Not Hex and Counters, but like the word encounter. No, it's hexes and counters. Hex and Counter war games, board games, like the Eld Avalon Hill games, and I'm playing Lock and Load, which is it seems like a simplified version or gamified version. I thought that was the envoy there of Advanced Squad Leader, which was a game that came out in the 80s, and I can't get around this guy. Okay, I always wanted to play it, and I never did. And I remembered that it was expensive, but I didn't remember the details. I've actually been looking into it a little bit. So I've got the computer, the digital version. The company that makes Lock and Load makes a digital version of it, Lock and Load Digital. And if you go to their website, they're pretty much encouraging people to buy that rather than the box sets. They don't actually have most of their box sets. So you can get the starter kit from them, which I might do. But what I wanted to do is they have these box sets for Normandy and the Pacific. I'm playing the digital version of the Pacific now, but I'd like to get the box set and actually play it like as a board game, right? With the counters and the maps. And most of it's out of print. I can't actually find it. And I figured Advanced Squad Leader was way out of print. Okay, so we want to go there. That's a dead end, but I'm going to check, make sure there shouldn't be a hostage down here. We're going to check because just in case. So anyway, so somehow or other, because I was, Googling and using YouTube, and your computer spies on you, it put up this awesome playlist by a guy who I guess played Advanced Squad Leader in the 80s and 90s and stopped, and then he got back into it and he made a tutorial on how to play ASL. And so I was watching it, and what does this have to do with difficulty? Well, each ASL scenario comes with like a one sheet, a sheet of paper, maybe it's a laminated card, I don't know, that has it has illustrated tracks for the turns, tracking turns. It has a historical breakdown of the mission. It tells you how to lay the maps out, because sometimes you're just using maps from different packs to build a battle. And then it has the counters. It tells you the victory condition. It has lists of the counters that you're going to use on the map, like which units you're going to use, called the order of battle. And then it has like other things, victory conditions, and so on. But it also had this thing, I can't remember what it was called, balance. And it says balance. And then it's like 2 German squads of this on turn 4. And 1 American squad of this, and 1 American squad of this on turn 3. And all the guy who was describing it said is that you can use this if you want for balance, but I never use it. And I read it and I'm like, I know what that is, right? If you feel like for balance that the German side is having it too hard, you can add American reinforcements on turn 3, and that'll make it easier, right? If you feel like the American side is having it too easy, you can add the Germans on turn 4 as reinforcements, and that will make it easier, right? So what they're doing is they're letting you choose the difficulty level of the game, right? If you think that one side is too hard, you give them extra units, and that'll make it even, right? So the game designers, and he was talking about this, the battles, the scenarios are often historical battles. So the outcome of the battle is known, right? And I've said this in one of the previous videos. A lot of times with these games and the scenarios, they're not expecting. It's not like, can the British beat the Germans in this battle? We know they can't. The Germans overwhelmingly won that battle, right? So the question is, can the player do better than the real Germans did, or the real British did, right? The real British lost after so many days, right? Each turn takes a day. The real British lost this battle after 7 days. So if you're still holding the town on turn 8, even though you've been pushed all the way to one end of the town, you did better than the real British did, it's a victory, right? And so that's what the victory conditions usually are, right? That sort of thing. And what he said was they know that, oh, we leveled up, so we can't use that to fight the Envoy of Shadows. I forgot about it because I was talking, so there we go. Whole mission will be easier now. It's now +1 mission. He said it's based on historical battles. We know who actually won the battle, but the game designers purposely tried to balance it so that either side could achieve the victory conditions they set for you, right? So with the one he was looking at, it's basically if the Germans still hold, if the Americans are in this hex or within 2 hexes of it at the end of the battle and have at least this many units left, they win, right? It's probably based on that battle, right? That's better than what the real Americans did in reality, right? In actual history. The Americans are going to win that fight because historically they did. But can the Germans hold the player of the Germans do better than the real Germans did, right? So it's balanced. The players, the devs play tested, and it's balanced so that basically the sides have an equal chance of achieving victory, right? So they balanced it. But even so, they know that balance that they did might not be comfortable for you and whoever you're playing with. Like, maybe I've been playing Advanced Squad Leader for 10 years and you just learned it, right? So then what I'm going to say is, okay, you're playing the Germans. Take these 2 units as reinforcements because I'm a more experienced player than you. It's like a chess player giving you knights odds. You take the knight off the board. I take one of my knights off the board because I've been playing chess since I was 15 and you just learned it. And that gives you an advantage against me on the board that counteracts the advantage I have from my experience, right? Or it might just be, excuse me, it might just be that the two players have played this scenario a couple times, and they're like, there's no bleeping way the Germans can win this scenario. We think this is unfair. We're going to rebalance it and give them reinforcements, right? So, look at that. Triple missing on a 60% again. And that's the same thing with this, right? The developers, when they were designing the game and playtesting it internally, they balanced 3 white con minions per hero. And they thought that was fair, right? And it was fair. When everyone playing the game was inexperienced, when everyone playing the game didn't really know how to slot enhancements effectively because nobody knew the numbers, when everyone playing the game was new, and when it was below level 30, it worked. And then what happened? Well, first, during beta testing, and this was a big battle during the beta test, I've mentioned this multiple times before, I remember being on the beta forums and reading this argument going, the guys making this argument actually are correct and the devs are wrong. They were getting ready to launch, and because what happened is, it took the players too long to level up, right? So the people that got into the original closed beta, those beta testers, they played for a while and they got to like level 6-ish, and then they said we're going to level everybody up to 10 so you can do the level 10 to 20 content. And then people were in the teens and they said, okay, we're going to level you up into the 20s. And then there was a final level up into the 30s. They just boosted them. And what the beta tester said is, don't do this, right? The one beta tester, he wrote this really articulate post, and he said the problem is you have basically the equivalent of level 15 players, right? Because of all the leveling you've done to us. You've got the equivalent of level 15 players. Oh, this guy. You've got the equivalent of level 15 players who are now playing level 30 characters. We don't have the experience and the skill with our characters that a real player of a level 30 character who actually got all the way to level 31 level at a time would have. We just don't have that kind of experience. We can't. Therefore, we are not going to be playing as well as somebody in the 30s on the live servers will play. We don't have the number of hours of experience they're going to have, right? If it takes 80 hours to get of constant play to get a character to level 30, and we've only played 30 hours because you keep leveling us up, we aren't going to be able to play the game the way a real person who leveled up to 30 naturally or 35 would do, right? And so he argued you need to let the game stay in beta long enough that players naturally get from 1 to 30 and they can test the 30 level 30 plus content for you. The devs said, nope, we don't think we need that. Everything's fine, right? They wanted to launch. They were running out of money. NCSoft was like, you got to get it launched, right? And so they didn't listen, and they launched it. And what happened? By the time you get into your 30s, you can fight +2s, right? And so that playtester was right. And so the game, 3 white con minions per hero is beautiful not until SOs, because at level 22 you don't have a lot of slots yet. By the time you get into the late 20s and early 30s and you have slotted a bunch of your powers for 6 at 5, and now you have those accuracy and damage SOs and recharge SOs and endurance SOs and hold duration SOs on your powers, your knockback SOs, all of that stuff. As you start doing that and getting more and more of your powers under multiple SOs, look at this, right? When you are like this, white cons do not challenge you. But they didn't know that because the people who were playing the beta didn't get like that. Remember, they couldn't influence farm. The mechanisms for most effectively gaining influence weren't there. You weren't getting mission influence and um, experience bonuses, so they were doing a lot of street hunting. Okay, I think we have to... This almost looked like the entrance to me. I was like, did I circle around to the front? But that's the entrance. So we need to get in there. But let me look around here. I just want to make sure there aren't any other prisoners. So the problem is that the skill of the players was much lower. The skill of the build skill was lower. The playing skill was lower. The grouping skills were lower, right? And as a consequence, they never really got the level 30 plus game tested to see if the white con rule, 3 white cons per hero, would work, and it doesn't. Right? That's the problem. That's the problem that they had, and so that's why we need a difficulty slider, right? But remember that not every archetype, not every build, not every power set. I don't know where that guy went. There he is. Not every power set is equally capable of doing like +1s and +2s and stuff like that. And so, yeah, as a scrapper and a stalker, I'm on +2s at this level, but as a controller, I might not be. Right? And it's different with groups versus solo. And so, so there are a lot of variables. Oh, this thing's going to reveal me. There are a lot of variables, and they had a hard time controlling for all of those, and the fact that they didn't test it in the 30s made it worse. But still, the solution was a good one, right? We'll just let you set the difficulty however you want it. And originally there was less freedom. There were 4 difficulty levels, essentially +0 times 4 +1 +0 times +1 times 4 and +2. And you know, a lot of people would say even +2 is not enough now. But now, yeah, you can do +4 times 8. You can even do +5 now, right? And even +6 and 7 under some circumstances. So that lets you set the game however you want it. And that's because whatever the developers do and however much they test it, whether it's advanced squad leader, lock and load, which on the computer at least also lets you change difficulties. So if you're the attacking player, you have a certain number of turns to do something. The defending player kind of has an advantage. If you feel like the defending player has too much of an advantage, you can give yourself 10 turns to do it instead of 8. And it might be easier to do it in 10 turns. Like, there's one mission I have to do as an American trying to capture victory points on the Japanese map. You're all the way on one side, you go all the way to the other side. You only have, I think, 8 turns to do it. And the Japanese have multiple strong points, and all they have to do is just shoot at you as you go, and you have to move. All right, so the first time I played it, I was very defensive, and I didn't lose any of my units, but after 8 turns, I only captured 2 of the, 9 victory positions. The next time I played it, I was just racing to them, and I got all my units killed. So I don't know how you do that mission, actually. But if I decide that mission's too hard, at least on the American side, I can just make it longer, right? They give you that option in the game, right? And so this is... all games have this, or all good games have this, ways of tweaking the difficulty. And ultimately, the purpose of that is to make the challenge of the game fit your comfort level. If you want something brutal and hard, you can do it. If you want something easier, you can do that too. You play a game like, Civilization. They had, from settler to deity mode, right? And playing on deity mode, it gave the other side huge advantages. Doom had different modes called I'm a baby, hurt me plenty, nightmare. Or I can't remember all the modes, but they were really funny names to them. I think I used to play on Hurt Me Plenty, if I remember right. So, yeah, the difficulties are there for a reason. The reason is that everybody has a different comfort zone. Everybody has a different level of challenge that they enjoy. It's not about, quote unquote, your ability, By the way, there's a guy there, I just saw him. It's not about your quote-unquote ability, it's about what you like, right? I have the ability to do sets right now and probably bump it to, I don't know, plus 3 times 4. I don't want to. It's not enjoyable to me. It doesn't make me right or wrong. That's just, this is the level that I find, this is actually too easy, right? The oranges are maybe okay. The yellows are way too easy. And frankly, I'd rather fight reds for minions. Now the red lieutenants are okay. Look at that. Multiple misses. With 90+% to hit. Okay, we have 2 more victims to find. So maybe we're going to be okay here? Thought I saw word balloons out here. Yep. Yeah, see, this red lieutenant will be a good challenge, but the orange minions kind of aren't. But that's what I like. Right? And especially, you know, things may change as you go, right? So let's say I get Advanced Squad Leader and I'm playing this scenario and I'm doing the Americans. I could go into the balance section and pick the balance that they said to improve the Americans the first time I play the mission, so that where's the bad guy? Come on. The first time I play the mission, second time I play the scenario, when I'm new to the game, I might give myself an advantage, and then after I play it a while, okay, it's too easy with this advantage, I'll stop using it. Or the most likely thing for me to do is to play it as written first, right? And then if it's too hard, I'll make it easier, right? One of the things I want to try with this lock and load scenario, that there's 2 scenarios for the Japanese. There's 2 different sets of, there's like 2 campaigns, the original, and then I got like a bonus, and they came together. So there's like 10 scenarios in each, essentially quote-unquote box set. But these are digital, so there's no boxes. And so I did the first, I was able to, I think I succeeded the first 2 scenarios of the one set, and then the third scenario, I could not do it. And so I said, all right, let me try the other set. And I got to the first scenario of the other set, and I can't do it. And so that's as Americans. But I haven't tried doing it as the Japanese. So I said, well, one of the things I'm going to try is I'm going to see if I can, how I do as the Japanese. Now, if I kick butt as the Japanese, right, 2 things will happen. One, if I'm playing as the Japanese, I will see how the AI is programmed to do this. And maybe the AI will have solved that problem, or the programmer has solved the problem of the tactics of how to do this. And I can learn from how this quote-unquote better player, as it were, plays this scenario compared to how I play it. I was doing one of the Vietnam scenarios. There were 2 of them in the starter pack, and the one guy was like did it online, like he did it on YouTube, and he said, I've played this scenario as the American. He said, I've never played it as the Viet Cong. He said, I played it as the Americans like 8 times and I've never won it. This is a really tough scenario. So I'm like, okay, this is a kind of a veteran guy who's struggling with this, so I don't feel so bad. I lost like twice. And I wish there was a way to resign. There isn't. I just noped out of it a couple of times too. And there's the Envoy of Shadows. He's level 40, so he's +2 to us. I am going to finish this mission, and then we will come back and deal with him. Let's make sure the mission's complete, and then I'm going to come back and deal with him, because this way... So the reason I want to do this is twofold, just to make sure we get it done, but also this way I wanted to do a hospital run to come back, right? If we lose, we just go out, hit the mission complete, and we're done, right? We lose, we just hit mission complete, and then we exit. If I fought him there, we have these 2 enemies here, these 2 hostages, if both of them are in this room. I don't know where they are. We have a couple hostages, and then we're going to have to come back and save them and then do a hospital run and all this stuff. So to me, this is more worthwhile to do it this way. you can see how much easier the yellow cons are. So yeah, I mean, guys, all games let you tweak the difficulty to your desired level. And that's because the playtesters can't know your own circumstance, preference, tolerances, etc. So don't feel like if you're playing one of these games, you have to use the default difficulty. They give you in Advanced Squad Leader battle balance. Germans can get improvements here, Americans get improvement here. They give it for a reason because they know with their own playtesting that sometimes it's too hard for some people or they want a different kind of a balance. So they give it to you as an option, just like we get the option to do difficulty sliders here. Put it where you want. And every single difficulty setting is an entirely valid setting. They gave them to you as a reason, for a reason. Okay, stop the circle sacrifice. Does that mean we have to fight the envoy? Or it sounds like there's somebody else. Ah, there's somebody down here. I mean, we are going to fight the envoy, but let's stop the sacrifice first and make sure we complete the mission. Oh, those guys are doing it. That's what's going on. Okay. There's magic going on up there. Yeah, I don't think I mentioned this. I was asking some of the GMs on the Savage Worlds Discord for ideas on how to trap the Mina Devlin's school for gifted youngsters, right? Her school of witchcraft, her school of orphan girls. And I said, I know, like, my players want to sneak in there. And I'm certain that my players are going to want to... I'll just take this guy up first. I'm certain that my players are going to want to... they're going to want to teleport in. They're not going to... I'm going to trap the doors, I'm going to trap the windows, but I don't think they're going to use doors and windows. Knowing my players, they're going to want to teleport in, right? So I said I want to do something... Oh, we got a prismatic. I want to do something to make it hard. I don't want to prevent it, right? I don't want to, like, say... It's like, one of the things I was looking at is there any way to block teleport? There, as far as I can tell, there isn't in Savage Worlds. In Champions, I love Champions. You could block teleport by buying hardened defenses all the way around a room, right? If all the walls, the ceiling, and the floor are bought with their whatever their defense and body is with their defense with the advantage hardened, you can't teleport through it unless the teleport has armor piercing. And the way armor piercing works in Champions is each level of armor piercing can be blocked by one level of hardened. So if you double harden, you buy the advantage twice. You'd have to, like, double AP the teleport. Nobody buys AP teleport, right? So you can pretty much block teleport by buying a hardened force wall or something like that. So you can't do that in Savage Worlds. I obviously could have made something up, but I said I wouldn't want to do, like, hardened defenses everywhere because, yeah, it'll stop the teleportation, but I want them to be able to teleport in, but not without a consequence. So, like, some sort of an alarm goes off or might go off. And so, before we tackle the envoy, let's talk about this a little bit. So one idea was to have animal heads on the walls, you know, like deer hunting trophies. And that the animal heads can actually see. And so you've got your eyes here, and you can see here, right? And maybe there's another animal head here that can see here. And there might be some blind spots. And if they're smart enough to realize the animal heads could be alarms, and they look at where the vision is, I'll have some blind spots. And they can teleport into the blind spot, but they're going to have to somehow figure that out with object reading or clairvoyance or looking through the windows or something. If you walk past the animal heads into their line of sight, the animal heads are programmed to yell an alarm. My alarm is going to be students out of bed, right? Because it's a school, and what they do is at night they set up the things so that if the students are walking around when they're not supposed to be, the alarm goes off. But then somebody said, well, when they teleport in, what if Mina and her students are doing a ritual to summon a demon or something, and the teleportation rips open the fabric between the dimensions and sucks the demon into where the players are instead of the ritual upstairs. And I'm like, oh, I love that. So there's going to be that. If they teleport in during the witching hour, which is going to be like 3 in the morning, or no, I'm sorry, it's 1 in the morning. Between 1 and 2 in the morning is, I'm calling the witching hour. There's different definitions of it, but I'm calling it 1 to 2 a.m. What happens is the Mina and the really bright students, she wakes them up at a little after 12:30, and between 12:30 and like 2 in the morning, she teaches them how to do magic and do rituals. And so they're going to be doing some sort of a ritual that simulates summoning a demon, and if the players happen to teleport in during that hour, they'll suck the demon in. I think that sounds cool. They teleport at other times. If they scout the place out and see that there's a light in the upstairs room, which is the ritual room, and recognize something's going on and don't teleport in, there's lots of ways around it, and they can also teleport in places where the heads aren't going to see everything. There's one in the hallway, so you could teleport into other parts of the hallway and it won't see you. It's really not there to stop teleporting. It's there to make sure that the students don't get out of bed and wander around the house, right, when they're not supposed to. And so I just wanted like a little bit of an alarm, and then there'll be some tripwires and stuff like that. There's going to be familiars like the cat, whose Mina's cat's going to be downstairs, and you can see in the dark and it can see them, but they can notice the cat's there. They might try to kill it before it runs to alert her. So there's I want there to be options for them to get in without being detected, but it can't be just it's a house with everybody asleep, everything's dark, and they can just teleport in for free like that. No, they're fighting the servitor of a reckoner. They should have a harder challenge than that. Okay, our mission is complete. I don't think we have to deal with this guy. I mean, we can try to catch him in the Shadow Mall, but this is going to be our problem. The Envoy of Shadows, he's +2. I am going to say now I don't think I can beat him. If we lose, I'm not going to come back at +1 or anything. We'll just fight him on +2 and see how it goes. Now, this is an optional fight. When we get to the point where we have to fight him, I might have to set the mission on +1 or +0. He has 4,858 hit points. He's going to probably heal about 2,000 of it, if not more. So we're going to have to do probably about 7,500 points of damage over the course of this fight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, guys. I'm going to start, because when overload drops, we die, right? We're going to have to leave when overload drops, or hit the mission, hit this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tray. I'm going to fight him as hard as I can. When these things start to flash, I'm going to pop overload. I'm going to fight him as hard as I can. When I see the overload thing, if he's still alive, we're hitting mission escape, right? Because yeah, I might be dead before that. I probably will be, but we'll see what happens. Oh man, was I not hidden? Well, that hurts me. What happened there? How did he see me? Oh, I walked into his zone of control. Yeah, that's going to make it almost impossible. Especially if I'm not hitting him. I got to get rid of this guy. Let's take him out, just so he stops debuffing me. Alright, that should take care of him. How are we doing? Well, we're not doing fast. We're not going fast enough. Time to hit overload. Yeah, I'm not doing enough damage to him fast enough. He's going to kill me, probably. We do have 73% defense now, so he's going to have a hard time. Let's try Placate. I don't think it's going to let me assassinate him. Nope. We'll see. No, because he could see me. Because of the defense field he's got, it's constantly doing stuff to me. Yeah. And now that I'm out of inspirations, I don't think... And he's going to heal himself. Because he's a behemoth overlord, so he's probably going to heal himself. Let's just get the crit on him. Are we even hitting him? Did I miss him all those times? Yeah. Alright, we can't beat him. So we'll just head out. He was going to kill me right there, so... That completes the mission. You can see the hit points. So that completes the mission. We were not able to beat him at +2. And we're going to call Cadeo Kestrel. And we have this next mission, but we will take it next time. Let's turn off our toggles. Heal up. And then we're going to lose all our endurance. I would be super jumping back to... Well, we can head back to the base, right? That shouldn't affect... Where am I going? Super grid base. Shouldn't affect... The overload thing shouldn't affect going to the base. We can sell. We're just going to wait for this to turn everything off. Well, to drop my endurance. That was a shame. I did not realize he was not going to let me... Reactive armor? Yeah, we don't really need it. I'll see if I can sell that. We really don't need that. I don't know if we need all that endurance reduction either. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't realize we weren't going to be able to assassinate him because he has that. So what he had was this like darkness field around him that I guess does damage, and when you take damage, it reveals you. If I had realized that, I probably would have gone in a different way. But unfortunately, I didn't realize it. Let's head to Talos Island. We were there already, weren't we? Or were we in Founders? I think we were in Talos. We are going to have to fight him at some point. And that may be one of these missions that I have to fail and then drop it to level +0, fight him, and then come out. Okay, we're now going to go to the Epic Power Pool. We're going to go to Energy Mastery. Superior Conditioning is okay. That gives you max endurance. It's not a priority. My priority on this is Focused Accuracy, and then we're going to go Laser, I-Beam, and then Physical Perfection. We're not going to care about Energy Torrent. That's a cone, like an AoE cone. I'm not really interested in that. It sends people flying. We don't want to send them flying. We want them in front of us. The Laser Beam Eyes are going to be for runners and pulling and stuff like that. I want to get rid of the Nemesis Staff, so we'll do that, and we'll get Physical Perfection. Those are probably going to be our next 3 powers. And then, so this will be 38, 41, 44. My guess is 49, and then 50 will be Touch of Fear. That's what I'm guessing at this point. Could possibly get Hasten at some point, but I hate getting it on every character, so we're not going to do that. We're going to start with Focused Accuracy. Keep in mind, with Focused Accuracy, this thing chews up 39 endurance a second. Okay, and if we compare that to our toggles, right? Kinetic Shield, that defaulted to 26 and is down to 19. So it's 50% more expensive than a regular toggle, right? These all do 26, so it's very, very expensive. So we're going to need probably 2 endurance reducers on it if we're going to want to run it a lot. Maybe even 3. 3 would get it down to 13 a second. But because we have this, 2 might be enough. So let's go to the base. We do have 1 new endurance reducing recipe. I sold 1, but I kept 1. We'll make that one, and we'll put that on Focused Accuracy. I don't know if we can make it. We might have to grab some salvage. No, we can make it. Create that. We're going to need damages, so let's go ahead and create. Create and accuracy. There's no, I mean, I feel like there's no reason not to create these, because even if this character doesn't need them, one of my other characters will, and we can just put them in here and grab them as needed, right? So we have some more damages. We have some more accuracies. We don't need any of this on our character, do we? No, what we need is recharge. Okay. So let's go ahead and put the endurance reducer. This one reduces it by 38%, so it goes down to 0.28, right? So this thing is going to cost a little bit more endurance with an endurance reducer on it, as one of these cost with none. But the advantage of that is that we can now turn the focused accuracy on when we want. Oh, where am I going to put this? Maybe I'll leave it here. I haven't been using the, I haven't been using this enough. I wonder if I should, yeah, these things are about buffing to hit. Let's move this, we'll put it over, let's put it over there for now. I feel like I'm not using this enough. I should use that more. It's a cool power, and I don't use it enough. All right, so let's grab some inspirations. Fill our tray up. Oh, going back to my normal tray. So, Envoy of Shadows, I probably needed more yellows and purples to fight him, and maybe reds. Didn't need as much in the blue and green arena. But yeah, he's tough when he's level +2, or even level +1, or even level +0. Alright guys, I think we did alright. We lost to the Envoy of Shadows at +2, but that's not unusual. Especially when I didn't realize I wasn't going to be able to assassinate him. I forgot about that. So I'll think about a tactic for next time, because he should appear in every mission now until the end. I think he's optional to fight, but he appears in most of the missions until the end. But I want to try him. We'll have focused accuracy, so that'll help too. And we'll see if I can figure out a better strategy to get him. But we'll find that out next time. Until then, I'm Scrapperlock, and this has been Soloing the Stalker on City of Heroes.